Then we start up with like VB script introduction. So whatever we discussed so far, those one comes under like in QTP front basics. Okay, so in QTP basically you will come across like a QTP process, QTP introduction, QTP different types of automation tools we were discussed. Then QTP introduction. During QTP introduction, we were discussing like automation process, recording modes. Then we went for like checkpoints, synchronization points. Okay. So then we were discussing like synchronization points, then virtual objects, then we were discussed what we discussed, regular expressions. Then we could have discussed like debugging modes. That means like different modes you can run in your QTP. After that recovery scenario, after that like object identification also we could have discussed. What is object identification? What is object identification means like tools object identification. That one I could have told you like during object identification. So QTP you can control. Okay, QTP is nothing but like tool. It provide you just a user interface, it do nothing. Okay, so QTP control is in your hands. So for identifying any of the object, so QTP instantly look for monetary properties. Monetary properties doesn't provide unique identification, means it can go for like assistive properties. Assistive properties also doesn't provide, means it can go for ordinal identifier. Ordinal identifier is nothing but like index, location, creation time. Along with this identification, you come up with like what you come up with, latest version of your QTP 11, they come up with XPath identification. So XPath is nothing but like in your application, each and every object should be having like unique ID. So that one you can consider as XPath. CSS is nothing but like cascading style sheet. So entire from parent to child, what is the hierarchy developer used? Okay, entire hierarchy it will take, that is nothing but like CSS. Then you can go for like visual identification. If any of the object unable to identify by QTP, around that object, with the help of around that object, QTP try to identify. So that is nothing but like visual identification. So one more mechanism you will come up with in QTP, that one I could have forgot, sorry for that. So that is nothing but like smart identification mechanism. Okay, smart identification mechanism. So smart identification mechanism is nothing but like okay, QTP doesn't have intelligence, right? So but with the help of smart identification mechanism is nothing but like QTP try to go for like intelligence for identifying any of the objects, means okay. So during record time, what QTP will do, it will try to store that object description in your object repository. That description it will use while running for identifying any of the object. Let us suppose whatever the object description got stored in your object repository, that description doesn't help you in finding out identifying the object. So what QTP will do is, QTP automatically enables smart identification mechanism, and it will try to identify that object, and it will try to identify that object and try to perform the operation. So that is nothing but like smart identification mechanism. Okay, that is nothing but like smart identification mechanism. Smart identification mechanism is nothing but like it will look for some properties. Just a second, that one somewhere I have, I'll show you, you'll get some idea. Okay, so what is smart identification mechanism is, so during record time, QTP try to store some object description in your object repository, right? So those properties doesn't provide unique identification, let us suppose while runtime. Okay, while runtime it doesn't provide unique identification, let us suppose. So at that time, what QTP will do is, it will automatically enable smart identification mechanism, and it will try to identify the objects. See, original description, this is the description, it was stored in your object repository. QTP doesn't provide a unique identification during runtime, so it has automatically enabled smart identification mechanism, and smart identification mechanism is nothing but like, again it will look for properties. Again it will look for properties like base filter properties, optional filter properties. So base filter properties are nothing but like my class and HTML tag. So whenever QTP added base filter properties to this description, it found 11 objects. Okay, so then it went for like option filter properties. So in option filter properties, it has added alt property. In case if it added alt property, it found 10 matches. If it adds image type, it found 3 matches. If it found like HTML ID, it found 3 matches. Okay, it added name, it found 3 matches. It added file name. At the time it matched only one match. So like that it provided unique identification. So like that QTP is just some intelligence kind of stuff. So this is nothing but like smart identification mechanism. I said like QTP you can control, right? So QTP doesn't consider like these are mandatory properties or these are optional properties. So you can tell your QTP tool like these properties you can consider as mandatory properties, these properties you can consider as assistive properties. That one you can control, right? So that one you can tell your QTP tool. So that is nothing but like your
Yeah, she just gave me email. I think she's facing some problem, I think.
okay. So by the time we'll discuss something else, okay?
Issues.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this one I could have told already, object identification. So here you can tell your QTP tool for identifying any, these are nothing but like different object classes. Different classes you will come across for any of the application. So web-based application means these are the different classes you will come across. So for identifying link, so these two you are telling your QTP tool. So you are instructing your QTP tool consider these two properties as mandatory properties, no assistive properties. No, you have to tell your QTP. So these properties you consider as assistive properties. You can configure. Okay. So that means like QTP control is in your hand. You can instruct your QTP tool. So these are the properties you can consider as mandatory properties and try to identify the object. So this is nothing but like object identification. This one I could have told you like during object identification in your QTP front. Okay. So these are the different topics we were discussed. Okay. So this one comes under like your QTP basics. Then advanced if we go for VB scripting portion, whatever we are going to discuss. So these topics, whatever we are going to discuss, those one comes under like advanced. So in my syllabus, if you go to like QTP VB scripting portion, what are the syllabus I put? Like VB scripting, test objects, utility objects, Windows management instrumentation code, like that. So many topics I have mentioned, right? Okay, each and everything comes under like advanced. So once we try to finish it up like VB scripting, then we'll try to come up with like some framework implementation by taking any application. Okay, so this is what we do. Okay, so then we can move to VB scripting. Okay, so before moving VB scripting, so we'll try to see like introduction to scripting languages, so introduction to programming languages, then VB script introduction we go for. So visual basic is nothing but like sorry, VB script is nothing but like subset of your visual basic. Okay, in visual basic you have so many versions. So but visual basic 4.0 one version, so there that point of time they come up with like VB script. So this one normally developed by who? Microsoft come up with like VB scripting. Okay, so so this is comes under like scripting language. So why Microsoft come up with VB scripting is like for processing both client side and server side applications. Okay, for processing both client side and server side applications, they come up with like this VB scripting. Okay, so fast, portable, lightweight scripting language. So both client side and server side scripts you can perform with the help of VB scripting. Okay, supports shell scripting, Windows Management Instrumentation Code, as well as ADSI. ADSI is nothing but like Active Directory Service Interface. Okay, so before that, we'll try to see like why they come up with VB script. So before that, how computers works out, how computer networks works, and how our IT industry is growing. Okay, so during starting days of your IT industry, very less number of computers, less number of IT companies were there, right? Very less number of IT companies were there. Okay, but it's growing very fast, right? Okay, so while fast and computer networks are also growing more and more. So you may be aware of like as computers and computer networks continue to grow and more complex, but these computers and computer networks, who will handle? Administrators, system administrators and network administrators will be doing it, will be there, right? So those people try to handle these networks. Okay, so as computers and computer networks continue to grow and getting more complex, system administrators continue to face more and more challenges. Simply have to say means during starting days, wild networks they may be using wild. Okay, so there are so many types of networks you may come across, right? Like local area network, LAN, wide area network, WAN. Okay, MAN means metropolitan area network. I will give you a simple idea. LAN means local area network. Let us suppose you are maintaining one company. Within your company, in your company premises, what you can do is you can set up one network. You can set up one network. So that kind of network you can consider as local area network. Okay, that kind of network you can consider as local area network. Okay, then your company is residing in multiple major cities. Let us suppose like in one city, in your city your company is having multiple branches. So across multiple branches you can come up with one network. That kind of network you can consider as metropolitan area network. Okay, you can also consider as MAN is nothing but like metropolitan area network. Then wide area network means like world wide web, across globe, wherever you want you can access. That kind of networks you can consider as WAN, wide area network. Okay, so not all that long ago. Okay, so it's not like a very long time again. So system administrators were limited to manage very less number of computers, right? A handful of computers. Handful of computers means like very less number of computers. But within limited time span, how computers growing? So getting thousands, hundreds, thousands, millions of computers, right? So while millions of computers are getting up these days, it's growing like even wireless networks as well, right? So wireless networks also you are getting up. So these days simply have to say means like system administrators manages hundreds, thousands of events, as well as that means like so many computers they are managing means for each and every computer they will be managing some user account. each and every computer will be having some unique address in your internet, right? So unique number of unique number of user accounts corresponding like 1000 computers you are using means 1000 user accounts they are managing. For all those user accounts, they have to provide privileges, they have to set locations, each and everything is getting complex, right? There VB scripting comes into picture. Okay, so in order to manage your computer networks very easily, so your VB scripting comes into picture. So normally VB scripting Microsoft come up for system administrators, not for automation purpose, but all those stuff you don't want to get to know, but how it will be helpful for you in developing in your automation front, that is what you have to get to know. Okay. So in your okay, so why you want to learn VB scripting? So in your automation, how it will be helpful for you, that is what you want to get to know. So that's why you are learning like VB scripting. So in your automation front, how it will be helpful is like while developing framework, I could have told you like how you will pass data through XLS file or text files or INF files or XML files. You have to read data from your text file or INF file or XML file. So QTP doesn't have built-in feature. You have to come up with VB scripting. Meanwhile, I could have told you so many times, while executing, QTP come up with its own kind of reports, but those reports you doesn't use in your real time. Okay, so that's why you come up with like summary kind of reports and in detail kind of reports, like your customer way reports. That means like event by event. Okay, so these reports again, how you can generate? So different ways like XLS or text files or INF files or HTML files or XML files, whatever you feel comfortable you can come up with. Okay. So again, this kind of time you will be getting a chance to use like VB scripting. And another important stuff is like unattended execution. What is advantage, major advantage of automation? Unattended execution. So unattended execution means each and everything you will be setting up unattendedly. Okay, that means whenever your automation framework sees latest build, it will automatically initiate installation. It will try to install whole of your application. Once installation done, necessary configuration needs to be done, right? So it will configure, then it will try to go for like creating different test sets in your quality center. Whole your framework you can manage in quality center itself, right? So you can create different test sets in your test lab. Then it will go for like smoke testing, then it will go for sanity testing, then it can go for like regression testing. It will be executing, then once execution done, it will be sending out summary kind of report and in detail kind of report in the form of like email. Again, this feature QTP doesn't have built-in feature. Okay, so you have to come up with this one. Again, how you will come up with the help of VB scripting. Okay. And night execution. So night execution means how you will come up with you will be setting up like while going home, you can just double click on some master driver will be there. So this is the kind of framework you'll be coming up with. We'll be implementing once we'll finish with our automation. I'm just giving you some idea. So inputs, one folder you are having. So inputs you'll try to pass like this. Okay, so test data. So how many test cases you are having? Test case 1, test case 2, like that. How many test cases you want? You can pass column wise, and for each and every test case, what are the different fields? Test data, and test data you will pass it up like that, like this. Okay, so you have to read data from XLS, right? So how you will come up with? You will be using VB scripting. Okay, you will be using for reading data from XLS. Your manual test cases will be like this. Your manual test case will be like this. So you may be aware of like the process before starting your automation. What you'll be doing, you'll be doing like analyzation kind of stuff. Okay, so which test case you have to pick up to go for automation? So stable functionality related test case you'll pick up to go for automation. Okay, so for reading data from XLS, function library one folder you come up with. So here see you come up with function library. Okay, these are the different functions, all framework supported functions you are putting in function library folder. Okay, this one we will be implementing, there you will get very clear picture. Okay, these functions what exactly is containing is like for reading data from your XLS and for generating summary kind of reports and in detail kind of reports. For all those one I come up with functions and put here like here. Okay, so this function library is for like for coming up with like XLS kind of summary report and in detail kind of report, and HTML is for HTML kind of reports. Your summary kind of report and in detail kind of reports you can come up with like either HTML or text file also, right? So this is for generating your text summary reports and in detail kind of reports. This is for your HTML. We'll be going on in detail describing. Yeah, as of now you can remember this one. So one more you have like master driver, that's what, right? So while going home what you can do is one XLS night execution that XLS is there. So here which are the scripts you want to execute you can mention. Okay, so execution flag, some scripts you don't want to execute, some scripts you want to execute. So which are the scripts you want to execute? So like that 1000 scripts, which are the 1000 scripts you are having, those 1000 scripts you can mention here, and along with that one you can mention your execution flag. Why means it will get executed. Okay, so while executing the result will get updated here. Again you have to handle this kind of situation. What you will do, again you have to come up with like your VB script. Okay, so each and every script you have to get from here and it has to open. If execution flag is 5 then only it has to execute. So while executing result will get log once execution result, and how much time it has taken, that time also you can log it up here. Then comments. Okay, then specific comments. Okay, so all this one how you will handle, with the help of your VB script. Okay, with the help of VB script. So master driver, so you will fill up which are the scripts you want to execute here, and while going home you doesn't do anything, just double click on this master driver. This driver what it will do is it will drive whole of your automation framework. So here you could have got some idea like we finished like our automation, right? Okay, I mean like QTP basics. So all of your reusable actions will put under reusable actions folder. Main scripts you'll put in main scripts folder. Your results get generated. Which kind of results you are using? If you are like XLS kind of results looks like this. Okay, generates like this. Okay, you are getting like okay, event by event reports you can log, right? So this is how you can log. If it is Excel, mostly your using QTP means mostly you can go for like XLS, but there is no restriction, you have to come up with XLS. You can go for HTML or text file also. Okay, so that is what you can come up with, and meanwhile HTML or text file also means you can come up with summary.html. Okay, test case 1.html. Summary kind of HTML means in the form of HTML you have to come up with. So this is how you can come up with summary. Test case 1, test case 2, 3, 4. What exactly the test script name? Status pass or fail. Okay, so you want to go for like test case 1 in detail report. Some test, this 101 got failed, let us suppose. So once you click on that one it will go that one. Actually the thing is some path problem. I copied this framework from another computer, so that's why the path is varying. Okay, once you click on a specific 101 test case it will come here. Oh, where it will happen? So it has failed here, this step. So from here you will get to know, oh, this test case got failed here. This kind of environment you have to come up means again. So this master driver, that is what it will take care of each and everything. While executing this master driver is there, right? While going home you will just double click on this master driver. Tomorrow morning you will come and you will be able to see like your summary kind of report and individual kind of report, like one mail to your mailbox. It has to send out an email once execution done, right? So again, QTP doesn't have built-in feature, so you have to come up with the help of VB scripting. Okay. So recovery, all recovery files you'll put it up in the recovery folder. Manual test case you'll put it up here. Function library, all environment. Automation main purpose is like it needs to be executed in multiple environments and multiple releases. So which environment you are executing, that environment, this is in the form of like XML will be there. So there you will update which environment you have to execute, so it will automatically pick up that environment and try to execute. Okay. So shared object repository, here we are managing shared object repository and documents. Framework supported all documents, you'll place it up here in test document. So this kind of framework you have to come up means obviously you have to go for like VB script. So these many situations your VB script will be pretty helpful. Okay, so there you'll get a chance to use like VB scripting. And another point of view, let us suppose you are having 1000 scripts. For executing 1000 scripts, okay, for executing 1000 scripts, it will take like 30 hours, let us suppose. But night execution means really how much time you will come across? Only 8 hours. So at that point of time, what you can do is whole of your framework managing in this computer. Whole of your framework you are managing in this computer. Okay. Whole of your framework you are managing in this computer. Okay, so like that you have to come up means obviously you have to go for like VB scripting. Let us suppose you were having 1000 scripts. All those 1000 scripts you have to execute means it will take like 30 hours, but night execution means only 8 hours. So whole of your automation framework you are managing in this computer. So how do you handle this kind of situation? At that point of time, what you can do is you can divide those one into 4 or 5 subsets and you can spread across multiple computers. Okay, so from this computer to some another computers you can you can connect, and 500 means 250, 250, 250, 250, like that 4 groups you can make it. And first 250 you can move it to computer 1, next 250 you can move it to computer 2, next 250 computer 3, like that you can spread across. And these 250 in 4 computers you can execute it up. Once execution done, you can fetch back the results from those computers to this one. That means like you want really 30 hours but you don't have enough time. So at this point of time, what you are doing, yes, you are making groups, you are dividing and you are spreading across multiple computers. You are making your execution and fetching back the results. Okay, so like this you have to handle means you have to connect multiple computers in the internet. So you have to connect multiple computers means you have to first check whether that computer connection is available or not. Once connection is available, you have to verify whether that computer is in on or not. If it is available, if it is on, then what you have to do, you have to verify that computer should not be locked. Okay, so that computer, actually the thing is, while executing your unattended automation scripts unattendedly, your computer gets locked, means should not get locked. If it get locked means what will happen is some pop-ups may come across, right, in middle. Those pop-ups your QTP automation framework may not handle. So your executing your scripts unattendedly means your computer should not get locked. That one you have to make sure. Okay, so while copying scripts, okay, so you are spreading across multiple computers means you have to make sure that computer should not be locked. Okay, once you verify all these validations, so during runtime while framework initiating your automation execution, at that time you have to validate all these checkups. Okay, all these primary validations you have to do. Once get success all these validations, then again what you have to do, you have to find out what is default drive in that computer. Some computers use a C drive as default. Some computers use D drive as default. Okay, so you have to find out manually, like, okay, so what is the drive, default drive in that computer. Once you found default drive, what you have to do exactly, how you are managing your framework here. So in this computer, how exactly you are managing your framework. And meanwhile, see, I'm saying like some computers they may be using C drive as default drive, but some another computers they may be using D drive as default drive. So once you copy this automation framework, those computers, that means like C drive some computers, D drive some computers, that means like automation path make it very right. So path also you have to handle dynamically in your automation framework. So there are two concepts you will come across, like absolute path and relative path. Absolute path is nothing but like exact this path. Only C drive, Salesforce automation. So exact this path only it will get executed. If path gets vary, it doesn't execute. Okay, so this is nothing but like absolute path. But if you come up with absolute path, the problem you never come up with like absolute path. You'll try to come up with like relative path. Relative path means wherever you want, you can copy this framework. It will work automatically. Whatever the folder you copied, whatever the path you are using dynamically, that path it can sync up and it can execute. So you are managing your automation framework means like that you have to handle. Okay, that kind of relative path you have to come up with. Okay, so first you have to come out, you have to find out what is the default drive in that computer. Then you have to create framework exactly like this. Means like you may think like framework means some tool or something like that, you may feel. Even initially we also will be feeling like that, but framework is nothing but like is just folder structure. You have to come up with each and everything. That's what I could have told so many times. QTP doesn't do anything. Each and everything you have to come up with. Okay, so exact folder structure, this folder structure you have to come up with each and everything. Code, functions, actions, reusable script, each and everything you have to create. Okay, so exact folder structure in that computers also you have to create. Once you create exact folder structure, you have to copy all files and folder scripts, each and everything from this computer to that computer. Once copy done, you have to initiate your execution. Okay, once execution done, you have to fetch back results from those computers to your parent computer. Once fetch back results, then you have to delete what are the folders and files you were created for your automation execution purpose in those computers. Okay, you have to delete, then you have to stop your automation execution. Just a second, just a second. Hello. Okay, so this is the kind of framework you may come up with. This is the kind of framework you may come up with. Okay, so this is nothing but like your this is nothing but like your automation framework. Okay, so this kind of framework you have to come up means, okay, so you can go for like you have to use VB scripting. You have to use VB scripting. Okay, so this is nothing but like your VB scripting portion in your automation. So that's why you are learning your VB scripting. Okay, that's why you are learning your VB scripting. Okay, so this is nothing but like your VB scripting. So while coming up with this kind of different types of frameworks, you may use Windows shell scripting, Windows management instrumentation code, Active Directory services interface. Okay, Active Directory services interface, all this one. So once we will be coming up with like framework implementation, by that time you will be learning VB scripting, right? So each and everything you will get to know. Okay, so in VB scripting different components you will come across like Windows shell scripting, Windows management instrumentation code, Active Directory service interface. Okay, so Windows shell scripting, Windows shell scripting means very high level idea I will provide you. You want to use C programming language, you have to come up with code, right? So for coming up with code, you have to use Turbo C. Some interface you have to install. So exactly like that, Windows script host also what it will do is okay, it will try to provide you some interface. So that is nothing but like Windows shell scripting. Okay, so this is nothing but like a program that suppose provides environment. Windows shell scripting is nothing. You have to come up with code, right? That code where you will come up with some UI required. That UI you will be coming. That is nothing but like script host. Okay, so like VB scripting you have to come up with code. For that one, script editor you can install. Script editor you can install. Okay, script editor. Okay, similarly, or notepad also you can use for coming up with like your VB scripting. Okay, so exactly here Windows W script host is nothing but like some host. There you can come up with like your program. Okay, suppose 3 COM objects. Those are nothing but like Windows WSH shell, network, and Windows shell scripting controller. Okay, you may feel little bit difficulty, but whenever we get into, we'll be looking practical oriented, right? At the time, it's very easy. VB scripting is very easy. Anybody can understand very easily. Okay, so initially you may feel little bit difficult while hearing. All this one you don't want. Okay, so very advanced purpose I'm coming up with. So even we go step by step, means you'll feel very easy. Okay, then network you are managing means for a network different users accounts needs to create, right? Okay, different computers, user accounts, domains, each and everything you have to create, right? Okay, user accounts you are creating. For you, those users again you have to set up like privileges, right? Okay, you have to set up privileges. You have to set up privileges. That one how you can handle is with the help of like Active Directory Services interface. Okay, so directories you have to manage means you can go for like ADSI scripting. Okay, then Windows management instrumentation code, operating system related, Windows management related you have to work with means you can go for like Windows management instrumentation code. Okay, so like what is your computer name, what is the drive you are using, you have to get C default drive, right? So that one how you can get is like Windows management instrumentation code. Okay, Windows management instrumentation code. Okay, so these are the different things, very little bit idea, but we will be implementing one by one. At that time you'll be getting very clear picture. Okay, so as of now these are the differences where exactly what you will use, that's what you will try to remember. Going forward you will get to know each and everything very detailed. Okay, so before that in your IT industry scripting languages is advanced tools. Okay, so before that you were getting like okay, you were getting like programming languages like C, C++, Java, like that. So many programming languages you were come up with. Okay, so many programming languages. Okay, so what exactly the difference between programming languages and scripting languages? In your IT industry there are so many applications, so many languages. For all those languages, what is the base language? C is the base language. Everywhere they could have used like C language internally. Okay, everywhere they'll be using C language internally. Okay, everywhere they'll be using C language. Okay, so that means like in your studies time you could have got like C language, whatever you learn that is less than 1%, I can say. You have to learn whole C language means whole your life itself won't be enough. Okay, so in C language So if you go for like Gmail, you have to come up with that means like this button, whatever you are saying, like compose this button, you have to come up in C language. Means how many lines of code you will get a chance to use, like 2000 or 3000 lines of code you have to use for coming up with this button in C language. You can come up with no issues. But in VB scripting or some scripting languages, if you go for, you will be having some reusable component, you will be using some, okay, so you will be having some button, you just drag and drop and you can create push button. If it is edit box, you can just drag and drop, you can apply some properties. How much easy it is. So that is the difference between like programming languages and scripting languages. You have to put this button in Visual Basic, that button will be there, that appropriate element. So you just drag and drop and place here, and how much size you want you can resize, and you can apply for properties. That is a difference between like programming languages and scripting languages. Okay. Okay, so okay, so there are programming languages and scripting languages you will come across. Programming languages, what they will do is okay, before that, as a human being you can understand English, but you have to talk with your friends or something like that. Means you can use English for communicating with them and for getting, for performing your daily activities. Exactly, you and computer have to talk, so some interface required, right? For that interface you can use as English. Okay, some interface computer provides, so that one you can call it as like English. Okay, so I mean to say here, like in your desktop whatever you are saying, that is English, that one you can understand, but computer cannot understood English. What computer can understand? It understands only machine language, that means like binary language, means like zeros and ones. Computer understands only binary digits like 0 or 1. Okay, computer understands only binary digits 0 or 1. Okay, so so whatever you are seeing internally, you are typing each and everything. What computer will do is, computer convert it into machine language and stores internally, and again while displaying in your screen, it will convert machine language to English like language and display in your computer. Okay, so whatever you are seeing in your screen internally within your computer, it doesn't store exactly. How it will store? This a programming language is like English you have, that one it will convert into machine language like binary digits, zeros and ones, and stores into mesh your computer's memory. Exactly, while displaying again, that zeros and ones convert into English like language and display in your screen. Okay, so your that one English to machine language and machine to English language, who will convert? That one compiler will take care. Internally some compilers and interpreters will be there, so those one will take it. So the compiler's job is it will convert machine language to English language parallelly, like machine language to English like language. Okay, it will convert. So the compilers are of two types, compilers and interpreters. Okay, so what compiler will do is, compiler compiles whole program at a time. In your C program 100 lines were there, whole 100 lines at a time it will convert to machine language and stores into your computer's memory. Okay, and stores into your computer's memory. Okay, so that is what compiler will do, but what interpreter will do is, step by step it will convert. So you have 100 lines, means first step it will convert into machine language, then second step, then third line, then fourth line, then fifth line, like that line by line it will convert. Okay, So that is nothing but like compilers and interpreters. So programming languages uses compilers for converting this high level you can English like language you can consider as high level language which you can understand. Okay, so compilers converts high level language at a time, whole program at a time it will convert into machine language. Okay, so programming languages uses compilers. So before executing it needs to be compiled at least once. C or C++ or Java, once you come up with code, before executing you have to compile at least once. It's not programming languages not that much easy to work with. Not that much easy to work with. Okay, okay, it's not that much easy to work with. So if you are technically strong, then only you can work with. Okay, so very hard to use, or even you want to come up with code means. But the thing is you can say like very hard. If you are from computers background, it's very easy, but you should be aware of a strong base, then you can come up with code very easily. Okay, but normally the thing is why we'll be saying hard to use or write code different, little bit difficult to come up with is these days testing department if you go, most of the people coming from non-computer background, right? So for them you may feel like it will be a little bit difficult. Okay, so if you are from computers background it will be very easy to work with your programming languages. Here whatever we are discussing, that one with respect to testing industry. Okay, and even it will be like too much time consuming. Okay, so rich support for user interface. User interface plays major role for any of the application, right? So that is nothing but like rich support for user interface. Okay, even graphics also you can come up with. So these are the examples for like different programming languages. Okay, so these are the different examples for like different programming languages. Then Microsoft actually come up with like scripting languages with the intent of like making administrators job easily, but in your automation framework implementation you are getting a chance to use VB scripting. Okay, so I said like scripting languages interpreter based. Okay, scripting languages uses interpreters, that means step by step it will convert. Okay, so programming languages, so before executing at least once you have to compile, but scripting languages no need to compile. Okay, no need to compile. Once you come up with code you can directly execute. Okay, without compiling. Let us suppose your code at 15th line, your line of code is wrong, having some problem. So what your scripting language will do is it will try to execute 14 steps and it will throw you error at 15th step. But if somewhere problem you have in your programming languages, it cannot execute not even single step. Okay, so you come up with like 100 lines of code in your C language. Let us suppose 70 the line is having some issue. Okay, it doesn't execute even at least 69 lines, it doesn't execute even single line. That is a drawback of like your programming language. But if that is the same case with your scripting language, it will try to execute 69 lines, then it will throw you error at 70th line. That is the advantage of like your scripting language. Okay, so whatever the lines of code is correct, till that point it will try to execute. Very easy to learn. So you have to get computer name. So very simple command you can use like get computer name. Okay, so get C drive, get default drive, one command you can use. That command itself will be telling you like what exactly that command is doing. What exactly that command is doing. Okay, so very easy to learn. So very easy. Anybody can learn very easily. Okay, run inside another program. Okay, so very easy to write, very easy. Okay, greatly reduces development. Greatly reduces development time. Limited support for user interface. Okay, it's little bit limited support it will provide you, and limited or no support for graphic design. Okay, this is little bit disadvantage of like your VB scripting. Okay, so there are so many scripting languages like Ruby, Python, Shell, JavaScript, PL script, VB script. QTP is very rich support for VB scripting. Okay, but latest version of your QTP supports Java scripting as well. Okay, so latest version of your QTP supports JavaScript as well. So these are little bit basics of your scripting languages. Okay, so these are little bit brief about your okay. So this is a little bit brief history about brief introduction about your scripting languages. Any questions? I have unmuted all. Anybody having any questions? No questions?
No, Father.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you.